We are here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the semifinals of the Team Liquid map contest. The WardiTV tournament for it. As in the top left-hand corner from Kites of Gaming, it is Solar. In the bottom right, wow, this is a... I did not expect this map to be so bright. It is honestly kind of blinding. I'm a little bit tired. In the bottom right, from Shopify Rebellion, he of course is Byun. Oof. Shiny, shiny. And we're on to Moondance. This is a map that I have not gone to cast just yet. I've done 3 matches from this tournament. Moondance has not come up, so we get a little bit of a... we can kind of look at it as it is, see what's up with it. And Moondance is a very fun map. Reminds me of... oh, what was the map? I'm trying to remember the map. It was a few seasons ago. Similar colors to Disco Bloodbath, but also had some lava. And it had the same pocket expansion. So what I'm talking about is this pocket third does have less bases than a usual, or less mineral patches than a usual base. Only has 3 and 1 gas, but it is a pocket base. It is safe to take. There is really nothing that's going to stop you from taking that. And we actually see Byun going for a CC first. And again, you can kind of do it on this map. It's a very large map. While you do have this wide open kind of, you know, natural 3rd and 4th plateau, it is still a decently long rush distance, not incredibly. So there are some rushes that are viable, but Byun is just going to go for the CC first. He's going to take the pocket base, get up an immediate 3 racks, which I think is a very, very interesting kind of build off of this. So we'll just be going into Marines, eventually getting up his gas to get his stim, but a lot of Marines here to apply pressure, and then into a 3rd base fairly quickly. And you're on a decent economy. It's not going to be a full 3-base economy, but it's going to be a much accelerated 2.5 base, essentially, economy, which is a very interesting to see here from Byun. And this is why I really love this map contest, because you get to see the pros try and do what they want with these maps. They get to look at them, they get to say, all right, yeah, what can I do on this map? That is a 4th barracks. Was that a 4th barracks? Okay, no, it was just the 3rd one finishing up. I was about to be very, very skeptical of that, but we have 3 Marines being produced at a time. This, of course, means Byun, he's going to be perfectly safe. There's not really going to be any danger to him of early lings getting any damage. Can then finally add on his add-ons to get the double Marine production, to get his stim pack on the way. And then as soon as he feels comfortable, we'll add on that 3rd CC. But as it is now, you just have pretty much this accelerated 1.5 base economy. And behind it, Solar is just playing completely standard. Hasn't even taken that pocket base. He's kind of ignoring it for now. Moondance is a pretty large map. I believe currently you have what is 8.5 bases per player. So getting close to Glittering Ashes there. You know, Glittering Ashes sitting with its 9. Such a just massive map. But Moondance getting the closest to that, as you have just a lot of places to expand. And it's a very interesting layout. Reminiscent of other maps, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but the layout itself reminds me of, again, some of the older maps in the map pool. So really, I mean, that's the cool thing about this contest, is you just get maps that take aspects from older seasons, from older maps, and combines them together in order to make these new and interesting ones. You know, with, of course, new color palettes, which I absolutely love. This color, I think, for this map, if it was a bit duller, turn down your gamma a bit when you're playing on Moondance, and this map is absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't blind your eyes. As we're going to be seeing the factory go down for Byun, currently working on stim and combat shields, so it is just a regular kind of 3 racks off of this, and we should be seeing the 3rd CC go down sometime, I believe, after the starport is what it looks like what the timing is going to be here for Byun. Engineering bay to follow for the fast +1 and the starport. And then after the push comes through, you'll have a 3rd base being completed. But right now, Byun has fully saturated this base here, so you're going to see that work production slowly come to a halt over time as, ooh, oh, the Overlord isn't on the pillar. Solar, obviously very confused how that wasn't the case, but it did look like it was just a little bit off. We'll see. As the Marines are now marching across the map. And that is a bit annoying as the Zerg when that happens. We've all had it happen. Yeah, Solar asking how could you see that Overlord? And yeah, not only was it not on top of a pillar, but this pillar actually is not above this high ground here. So even if he was completely on it, well, Byun could see it anyway from the high ground. His stim is done, combat shield is done. Byun is going to look for a push out. Solar already prepared for it, has Banelings finished, but they're not ready just yet. Byun pushing forward. You have to be careful. You can't use that stim until you're absolutely certain that you want to go in. Or kite back, and really doesn't look like Byun is going to get much done with it. More drones coming out. The Banelings completely able to neutralize any threat that those Marines have, especially since once you hit that stim, pretty much one Baneling hit is going to do it. Double Evo Chamber on the way for Solar. Currently just sitting happily on his 3 bases. Should be expanding to that 4th fairly shortly. We'll see which one he does end up going for. It looks like it will be the 4th base directly kind of diagonal from his main. So a bit of a safer option. It spreads out your bases less. You don't have to deal with this low ground that can be abused very easily. As we have 2 full medevacs coming through, Byun looking to augment his push now. +1 almost done. The Marines just going to show themselves, and you do have a surround being set up, but now you have a tank. You have a whole lot more Marines. There's more micro-ability with this army. We'll see what Byun can get done, but look at this surround being set up by Solar. He's actually just going to go straight for the counterattack. There are Marines at home. Again, 3 bases completely safe, or 2.5 bases, I'd say, but this surround, this is the real danger of this. If Byun pushes in, can just get sandwiched, and then really, I mean, you've given up all map control as Byun, and you only have 2 medevacs, so you can't ferry out all the Marines, and that's the real worry of this, is look how many Banelings there are. Solar absolutely prepared for this. The tank is going to unsiege and try and move itself forward. Byun being so annoying, harassing with these Marines, just making sure they're trying to get these Queens low. Finally, the Lings are going to commit on in. Byun has to pick on up, but here comes the surround, and I do not think that Byun has enough to stop this. He's just going to pick up as much as he can and get on out. A few Banelings get killed with a tank shot, but all in all, absolutely a worthwhile cleanup for Solar, who now just has to worry about this small drop that can easily be defended. The 4th base is going to go up. Hydra Den on the way, and the upgrades coming through. +1/+1 centrifugal hooks. And Byun does have +1 of his own and is actually bringing over even more units now, trying to leverage this position that's so easy to move out to. It's, I mean, like a 12-second even rush distance, if not shorter. Tanks moving forward. Going to siege on up in this position. Baneling speed is finished though. Centrifugal hooks finishing up in time with this push is really painful here for Byun to try and make this work. You know, you're even on supply, sure, but those Banelings having speed means that when this surround comes through, well, it's going to be a lot of micro needed for Byun to try and make it, to try and survive without losing absolutely everything, and well, the tanks might just go down. Solar, though, is having to deal with a drop here in the main base. Byun just being so very annoying, but here comes the commit onto the main army. Tank shots focused onto the Banelings extremely well. Spokes fire. Oh, the tank shot cleans up so many of the Banelings, and Byun gets a ton of value here. The drop was eventually cleaned on up, but so many Banelings get cleared out. And look at that, already the resources lost. So far in favor of the Terran. It should be in favor of the Terran, but to this degree already, Byun, again, that tank focus fire, that's all it was. Getting the shots onto the Banelings, the tank staying alive for so long, and the Marines not going down, kiting back as far as they needed to. And now once again, Byun trying to push, has a lot of Marines kept back by the tanks, making sure that they're available. I mean, the focus fire is going to come down. Look at this, Byun just being so good with these tanks, focusing them again onto the Banelings. Target fire doesn't come down fast enough. But it doesn't matter. The main brunt of Zerglings has been eliminated. There's still a tank here to support. Ooh, Byun, you might have stepped a bit too far forward. He's going to have to evacuate, loses quite a few Banelings, but the tank shots and the Banelings are all gone. And Solar, I don't know if he has enough to hold this position. Byun looking to just power push down on 2.5 bases. More Banelings going to try and roll on through. Byun running for his life. The tank shots are good, and now the Banelings can be focus fired. All of them will fall. As Byun is going to continue to push, the Queens are now the targets. Transfuses do not matter. Only a few Banelings left, and these might just go down. There's so many Marines. You don't even need to target fire. Byun making just the death push work. Feels like it's 2012. There's a good Baneling connection there, but it doesn't matter. GG, Byun gonna take game number 1. And what a map we have here. I'm not actually sure if it is a spaceship. It looked like one at first, but it does not appear as that is the case. They just appear to be a space platform. You know, here's my question. Does a space platform count as a ship? Sorry about that, kind of moving around. You know, because obviously this is, you know, floating in space and, you know, just kind of was a mining satellite at one point. But it's afloat. It has rockets on it. You can see, you know, there's mechanics here. I suppose it can't fly. And is that kind of the, is that what you need in order for it to be a ship? I guess. But yeah, this is a very interesting map. There's a lot of debris to close off the middle of it, so you can't just go straight across, and if you want to go around, well, it's quite a long path that you're going to have to follow. You have a Xel'Naga watchtower in the center, a singular gold base at the bottom left-hand corner. Other than that, it's sitting at 6 bases per side, so despite how large it is, and how large it feels, definitely a very claustrophobic map, where you have some wide open areas, but a lot of ramps, a lot of kind of these choke points that can be taken advantage of, and not a lot of bases to work with. As we are going to be seeing just a regular opening here from Byun. He's going to be working with that double gas. Both of his command centers on the way. I do believe, again, I believe this build is the CC first, which Byun has been favoring a lot, even in just regular games, which I find interesting. The one worry is, well, you know, there's going to be a bit of aggression coming out here from Solar with these Lings. In reality, they shouldn't get too much damage done. They might find an SCV or 2, but that should be about it. You can't get a cancel because it was CC first. And Byun, as long as you micro this, are going to be able to get the first Ling. Solar going to bring over the next 3, but I don't even really know if you're going to get too much value with them. The SCVs can fight. The Marine can fight. Yeah, you're not even actually going to get a worker, so no value gain there. Third CC immediately going down for Byun, looking to just expand and get on into the macro game. And we'll see how this map plays out. Again, I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be so interesting to see how these players use this map. As we do have some lovely little, I believe, are these computers? No, these are houses, right? These are houses because minerals are massive. And you can see, yeah, these are houses. The denizens of Cosmic Sapphire are going to be able to witness the bloodbath that will occur between the Dominion and the Zerg Swarm. No way are these houses. Wait, I'm questioning myself now. Like, as once again, Solar getting his Overlord caught. It's just, oh, barely not going to go down. Another Ling trying to find its way on in. To no avail. 2 more racks going to go down. So we're going to see Byun go into 3 racks before his starport. Again, just things that, you know, Byun does. He has slight variations on a lot of openings. And it a lot of time ends up being very interesting how he uses them. He's like this, you know, CC first into racks, factory, 2 more barracks before your starport has even gone down. And that starport will now just be added on. It really is openings that I really only see Byun do, which is always interesting. How he ends up using them to maneuver himself into a win. As the banter is going down, as, you know, Byun says, oh, I thought I could get that Overlord. Solar say this map is good for Terran, and yeah, I feel like this map, we'll see. You do, again, you have the choke points, and you have a lot of wide open area to push these bases, which means that, of course, tanks have some things to mess around with. You have this area here. When you're looking at the other base, you do have places for your tanks on the low ground, which will be so annoying. I mean, this is a Maru position if I've ever seen a Maru position. Like I don't even know if you could get tanks here, but if you could, that would be so abusive. I don't think you can. But this is a Maru position. And you can just really kind of take advantage of a lot of area here. As the Terran with your drops, we'll see if Byun does end up being able to use that to his advantage, or if Solar will be able to kind of get into his lurkers and then use that to just siege up these bases and take advantage of that. This debris has been cleared across the map as the Zerg course. You do want to clear up as much of the debris as possible. You want to open up the map, essentially, because you want to have as many angles as possible in order to try and get surrounds and find angles for counterattacks against the Terran when they are pushing. Byun, keeping vision on that alternate attack path, though, with the Hellion. This does see pretty much everywhere, unless you take the extremely wide angle all the way around. And we do have this wonderful little, once you get to the late game, bastion here that you can mess around with, as 2 medevacs are going to move out here with a whole bunch of Marines. Let's see how much value they can get before they pick on up. And a Marine for a Baneling, hey, you'll take small little trades like that. As 1-1 is close to finishing up, the armory on the way, and Byun kind of rocketing himself into his +2/+2 upgrades. As you now have middle mines on the way, 5 barracks production, alongside that starport. Solar himself on 4 bases, just working with the Ling Bane, will be getting his 1-1 upgrades on time as well. So no real advantage for either player going to be gained. This combat shields is almost finished up for these Marines. Going to have to get picked on up. A few more go down than you'd like. And Solar able to deflect these attacks very, very easily, as we're going to be going up to 8 racks. So Byun going to be looking for a power push off 3 bases. You don't go up to 8 barracks without that in the back of your mind. 2-2, 8 barracks, power push at 10 minutes is going to be the name of the game. Although it does feel like Solar is preparing for it. I mean, you have a macro hatch going down. You have a 5th base on the way. Solar is very much ready to accelerate himself, as well as, oh, that's a massive Widowmine hit. Solar thought he could get the kill on it. That was not the case. But 2-2 is on the way. This 3rd base is fortified. No gas is taken there because, well, you don't need it. It's Widowmines, it's Marines, it's medevacs, and some Marauders, and then you are just pushing down the Zerg as creep is getting cleaned up. Solar has been doing a very good job of expanding his creep, and I haven't talked about it much, but Solar is one of those players that is so good. And a lot of players, or a lot of people, don't give him recognition for how good he actually is, because a lot of times Solar does end up falling just barely short, just a little bit short in tournaments, where he's not able quite to make it to the finals, make it all the way to get the victory. But Solar is one of the players who has consistently been able to keep up with the highest level Terrans for, I mean, as about as long as, players like Rogue and Dark do, He still keeps up with Maru, he keeps up with Cure, with Bunny, even though they are constantly, showing that their skills are so good in this matchup. He's able to make these games close, and it's really going to be interesting to see how he does here up against Byun. Now, we're looking at Solar starting to build up a bank. He's already sitting on 5 bases, 78 workers, and amassing up a massive Ling Bane army, and that is how you try and crush through this. When your opponent is working with 1 factory, when they're looking for this kind of 10-minute timing attack, and it should be actually coming right around 9 minutes here, finishing up, but for unit production, not coming through quite for Byun. Usually you'd want to, I think, have a bit more, and this is how you deal with it. It's a lot of Lings, it's a lot of Banelings just trying to attack as Widowmines are being burrowed. They're going to get some decent shots off. But yeah, the immediate liftoff from Byun. He knows he doesn't have enough. Look how many Banelings there are. A base is going to go down on the other side of the map for Solar, but he is clearing out Byun. But these Widowmines, you have to be so careful. The Baneling split-offs are good, as the supplies are dead even. I mean, Byun, again, this is the opening for you. This is the build where you trade units out, but that's not how you want to do it. As across the map, 2-2 versus 2-2, trading out. Baneling or Widowmine shots are good. I don't think Byun can continue to trade like this. Gonna try and find a position here on into the main base. The Queens have chased him to the 3rd, but his natural base is under fire. 35 workers have gone down. Byun needs to find similar damage, and I don't know if he can. Marines and Marauders fighting with the Zerglings here in the main, just not getting enough value. 44 workers have fallen, and I think Solar just found the timing attack. The bases have been cleaned out, and sure, there's 4 command centers, and there's mules, and those obviously can do a lot, but 65 workers to 23, you only kill a singular hatchery. I don't think it was enough value for Byun. Solar working on the infestation pit. It's going to be looking to transition into 3-3. Cracklings. Again, I mean, you only lose one base. You lose some workers, but you did more damage across the map. And so, you're fine with it. It doesn't hurt you at all, as Warlings are going to try and find their way on in. Marines and Marauders, or Marines, should be able to stop it. Zergling's just trading well, and you know, it hurts for Byun. You need to stay home, because these counterattacks will just be able to pick you apart if you don't. And while the supplies are even, that worker count is slowly going to get out of hand. Solar will just be able to consistently rebuild more than Byun. So if you take bad trades, that is about it. Liberators on the way, though, for Byun. Not really the choice that you want. The Liberators against Lingbane don't do that well. In fact, you want a second factory here is actually the most important thing. That's what you see players like Clem and players like Maru especially add on, is a very 5 racks 2 factory. Because the additional Widow Mines, the tanks, just everything that you're able to get with as you need to pick on up here, Byun gets everything out just in time to mitigate the collapse from Solar, who's now once again going to look to try and make his way onto this third base. Widow Mines are burrowing in, drop on top of the Banelings from Byun. He's going to be able to clear up a lot of the Baneling count, but it doesn't matter. GG. Solar just did too much damage, ties it up. As Solar seems to think that every map is Terran favored in this map pool. Which, I mean, you can see where he's coming from, of course. As Byun says, Zerg is also good on this map. Do you want to bet? You gotta love the banter. And Cryogenian is a map that I definitely think feels very balanced so far from what I've seen. You do have this top base and bottom base, which will be contested from both players, but each player has an attack path to get to them. Each player has rocks blocking the immediate path to get to them. And so the map can be split 2 ways, essentially. It can be split top-bottom. It can also be split left, split left-right. As Solar, if you don't understand this, Byun, when he does stream on Twitch, does often, of course, stream without talking. He doesn't stream with a webcam or with a mic sometimes. And so when he's in the middle of a game, instead of, he will type thanks sub in the chat. And so I think Solar playing on that a little bit. I don't know if Solar was actually streaming during this event, but a little bit of a play on that, as we are going to be seeing once again. This time, no CC first. This was the racks into command center from Byun, so a much more standard opening from our Terran player, and we'll be seeing the Reaper come out for the first time in this series. I've missed him. He looks so fine in that Reaper suit. As Byun is just kind of looking around, seeing what there is to see. We'll see how the early skirmishing does end up going down. I believe only 4 lings have been produced. 6 actually coming out here for Solar, so just trying to be a little bit safer. 4 or 6 lings is usually enough to stop the Reaper from getting a lot of damage until the Queen is out, especially if you have a map with a long rush distance. Cryogenian is a pretty big map. Yeah. 8 bases per side. Pretty huge. And we do actually have a proxy starport. So we are going to be getting a bit of Hellion droppage here in game number 2. Byun maybe saying how much damage he can get to the mineral lines as the barbecue is going to be fired up. The coal will be thrown in. The Xel'Naga here with their artifacts will be watching all of this go down. They do love the Xel'Naga themage of these maps. Just add a little mise en scène, to it. Just everything goes in. And actually, it's not even going to be a medevac. That is actually a Liberator. A proxy Liberator here coming out from Byun. It's not something that you see very often, but definitely not something that Solar will expect. It's Byun just scouting out all of the base possibilities, and we're going to be seeing the tag team here of the Liberator with the Hellions. I would not be surprised if we got an immediate medevac for Hellion drops, or if it's just floated back. Both options, of course, perfectly viable for Byun. As for Solar, well, already has a Queen Wall ready at the top of the ramp. Does just move it away. Okay. Playing a bit of a fishing around with it as Byun Does get seen, not gonna be able to dive into the third. No real workers around. Natural also well defended, but here's the Liberator, already getting himself 2 kills. A larva and a drone going down, continuing trying to reposition. Not much more value gotten though, as it is going to be the medevac that is produced, so we will be seeing the Hellion drops into the main base. Solar just trying to get full confirmation of what's going on. Sees the stim pack, so of course knows that this is a fairly standard build coming out from Byun. The stim pack being finished up this early. Oh, oh, Byun. Oh, I love it. Has the stim pack started. Solar thinks that this is obviously bio. What else would it be? But no, it is not. In fact, he's going into mech, 2 more factories placed down. Solar has the complete wrong idea at the moment of what this build is going to be, and Byun will absolutely be able to mess around with that knowledge. I love it. I haven't really seen Byun's mech. That's not something that we get the privilege of seeing very often, as the Liberator is going to siege up in the natural. The main base is attempted to be dropped, but already Ling's there. Queens as well protecting the natural into the third. Solar, rock solid defense there. A 3-pronged attack, shoves it back, even manages to get rid of the Liberator. As Infernal Pre-Igniter already on the way. Hellions and tanks in production, and Byun, he might actually even be going for a mech timing attack here. With the Infernal Pre-Igniter finishing up so quickly, I can't help but feel like this is an angle where you're looking to go into some sort of, right now it looks like a 37-minute attack with tanks and a bunch of Hellions. And I mean, I think what Byun needs to do right now is actually hide the rest of his Hellions, because this is about the maximum amount of Hellions that you go while still going bio. You won't get much more than this. Of course, you wanted to apply early game pressure, get map control, and that is about it. So you don't want to show much more until your timing attack is going to come through, and that looks like what it's going to be. Hellions and the 2 tanks coming across the map. Now Cyclones being produced as well, and Infernal Pre-Igniter will be lining up with this. The Baneling Nest is not done yet. That is such a big point here for Solar, is he's going to get Banelings out, but they will be slow Banelings. So Hellbats will be very, very valuable, as we will see the medevacs push on in. Tank's going to be dropped as well. Where is that Hellbat morph? Not going to come through just yet. Can still try and poke around. Is there a surround set up here by Solar? Not quite yet. Is finally getting it set up, but oh, so a lot of Banelings almost go down. Infernal Pre-Igniter now available. There's a lot more value that's going to come through. The morph. Oh, but the Banelings are just going to run on in. Byun has to pick up. Gets 2 of the Hellbats out, but they immediately get surrounded. The tanks go down. And Solar able to clean it up. I feel like Byun there, the morph came in a bit too late, and all of the Hellions were clumped up. So many went down, and now roaches are being produced. +1 vehicle weapons is on the way, but mind you, that's not actually really an upgrade that benefits the Hellions or the Cyclones, but that's a lot of Banelings that are going to go down. Ooh, Byun continuing to try and make this work. Now the Cyclones added on to help deal with the roaches, with the Queens. More Banelings going to fall. The workers have to be pulled. Byun continuing to try and push this, but he's starting to lose Hellbats. Misfire by Solar onto a Creep Tumor. That's massive. A lot of DPS goes down. The Queens are going to start to fall, as Byun isn't finding massive damage quite yet, though. Hellion run by into the main or into the natural gets 9 workers. Also cleans up a lot in the third base. The rally points aren't set. The Roach Warren is going to go down. Byun is finding damage, but I don't know if it's enough. The Cyclones aren't focusing on any of the actual units. They're killing Overlords, which Solar can absolutely afford to lose. As, Byun, the mineral line was available. Didn't go for it, though. The cleanup comes through. Looking for the main now. He's going to be able to find at least decent value. That should be about it. Ooh, Byun. Oh. So close. But only the 3 workers have gone down. Solar actually got more damage on the reverse end of it. 16 SCVs in total, falling to the 8 drones that Solar has lost. And now the Cyclone's going to be a bit annoying. They, of course, don't do a ton of damage. Magfield Accelerator not quite finished yet. But Byun resaturating his third. 59 workers available for him. A lot of them were not mining for a long duration there as the counterattack came through. I mean, I didn't even see it. Solar sneaking out a group of Lings. +2 vehicle weapons on the way. Byun, I'm not sure if that is an existential crisis. Yeah, as he realizes that that attack didn't really do that much. It felt like it was getting a lot done, but unfortunately, actual damage-wise, not a lot came through. His scans go down. Cyclones continue to try and get value here. One of them sniped by Corrosive Vials, actually. But now Magfield Accelerator is finished up. Byun trying to play with the battle mech. Not a lot of Hellions left, though, so you have to be careful. As, oh, the Baneling run by. So deadly. It's still dangerous. We'll finally get cleaned on up as the tanks will get rid of it. 3 workers go down. Byun managing to avert a massive crisis there as CC will finally be landed once again. Tanks being loaded on up, and Byun is going to try and, I believe, create a position here at the Xel'Naga Watchtower to make it so that, yeah, Solar cannot really push by just having tanks here. And I really do love this use of the map. Again, Byun, I love how he experiments with maps. You know, even if it doesn't end up working, Byun is one of the most experimental players where he'll absolutely use the different parts of a map to try and win a game. Ooh, Hellbats need to be dropped out. They're not dropped out soon enough, and they're going to go down. Byun is trying to pressure the base here. Should be able to snipe the 5th. Keeps the lock-ons. Is going to lose the Cyclones, though the transfuses go down. And Byun loses a lot there for nothing. The tanks are now going to be cleaned up. Oh, the medevac can't get the first tank in time. As now Solar, apologies there, as living on a college campus does have its downsides. As Solar gonna look to push this down. There are a lot of tanks here. I don't know if this is quite the right push that you're looking for, but Corrosive Vials get a lot of value. Ravagers will slowly start to fall. Byun is not gonna die to this push, but Solar just getting advantages. As this 4th not falling, I mean, such a big point here for Solar. Able to save it with the transfuses, able to push back the Cyclones, and now, I mean, Byun should be starting out more upgrades. There we go, +3 vehicle weapons on the way. More command centers finishing up. Just trying to, I mean, keep vision with these Hellions, but look at the supplies. 50 supply in the lead for Solar, who has absolutely extended his lead. Oh, the Queen. Solar's so good, man. He's so good. It's actually insane. It's not fair. It's not fair. Everything he has been able to shut down so efficiently with taking minimal damage. But Byun is starting to scale. You know, this is Mech. Mech gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. He's going to soon have +3 vehicle weapons for these tanks. You know, he's getting Liberators, and you know, I think the only real danger right now is this base, because if Solar's able to collapse on in and clean all this up, there are no Hellbats available. The Corrosive Vials go down. And Solar absolutely pounces. No tanks supporting from the high ground. Byun just got a little bit too greedy with pushing out. And now Solar's just going to try and collapse on in. I mean, he's up 80 supply. And sure, it's in Roach Ravager. And sure, I mean, Byun has +2 tanks, but that doesn't really matter when you get vision, when you have Corrosive Vials, and when you just misstep that much as Byun. As the Corrosive Vials go down, Solar found his opening. There was no support for the move out. GG, Solar is on to match point. One player on match point. And we get to see a fun one, as in the top left-hand corner of Singularity. On match point from Kaitza Gaming, it's Solar. And in the bottom right, you have to try and bring it back here. The macro didn't work out. From Shopify Rebellion, it's Byun. As we get the ambience of Singularity. Oh, it's so pretty. I love this so much. It is so cool to see the different kind of styles of map making. And this map is just absolutely gorgeous. I find it to be really beautiful, and it's a very large map. Singularity right now sporting a very, very healthy map count of 7, 8. So again, a pretty big map, considering that you do have the far top left and bottom, top right and bottom left bases, which do have these small ramps up to them. So, you know, defensible late game options. In fact, the only base that's really hard to take is actually this base here in the middle. You do have 2 large ramps that can be cleared out. You do have a low ground. And so when it gets to the ultra late game, this map does end up being really about these center bases, because once you, in the middle of the map, there are a lot of ramps that you see working around, you know, that you're gonna have to fight around. You do have the rocks closing off the direct path from natural base to third. And overall, I find it just to be a very pretty map, and I do like how it's laid out. It's very compact. There's a lot of small areas that you're working with. You don't really have a wide open space until you get to, you know, these 2 locations here. You know, and you're getting to your 5th bases is when you really have all these wide open areas. But everything else has a choke point. And so I think it's going to be a really fun map to see what these players do end up doing. Again, Byun has been experimenting. He's been trying to use the maps to his advantage, and I think he's been doing a good job of it. But of course, Solar is just a formidable opponent, no matter what. And so Solar's always going to be able to get some games off of you. That's not something that you're really going to be able to stop. You do have the Reaper pushing forward. So far, I mean, hey, gets a kill there onto a Ling. You will take that. It is at least a little bit of value, as the Reaper is now going to have to back on out. And again, Byun just going for a very standard Reaper into expansion into your factory, and then it should be a fast 3rd base behind it. Or a fast 3rd CC behind it. But actually double gas, so Starport will come down first. So again, Byun switching it up. I think almost every game this series with his opening build order hasn't just been repeating the same thing over and over again. We'll see what this dialogue is about, as it Crank will, of course, translate in. Yeah, that's the really nice thing about the Team Liquid map tournaments and anything that Wardy does. Of course, you do also have Crank. Even if you don't speak Korean and you don't, you know, get the casting, you don't get Crank casting. You know, the fact that he's just such a awesome member of the community. So Solar asking about the Reaper jump up spot right here. Byun said no, and then I believe he said his Reaper and said it was special. Again, I love the banter between these 2 players. It's so fun when, you know, especially when pros just talk with each other. Again, just loving the map decorations. Are going to be a pain. You probably should, if you don't have the best computer, turn these off. Those will absolutely kill your processor. In fact, even mine, if this gets too late in the game, might just die from how much there is going on this map. As the Reaper does eventually get cleaned on up by the Speedlings, Byun is going to add on his 2nd and 3rd barracks. And has the single medevac moving out, just trying to see if it can find any overlords or any little drop spots to get a bit of value. However, that will not be the case. Solar again in pretty unpenetrable defense, honestly, up to this point. Aside from, you know, game 1, it has been just incredible and pretty impeccable defense. Solar doing such a good job making sure all of his bases are covered. I mean, look at that. Has queens at the 3rd, has a queen at the natural, has lings in the main. Just everything set up ahead of time. Just knows where Byun wants to go. Has a perfect read on his Terran opponent. And that's unfortunate because Byun right now went for 3 racks before his 3rd CC. So Byun is going to look to be aggressive. You know, this is a build where you try and get pressure. You're not just going to expand to a 3rd and kind of sit on that and macro up, because you are giving up that fast 3rd CC option in exchange for getting units out, for getting your stim, for getting your +1 tanks. You know, it means that it's going to be a strong push that's going to come out from Byun, but you're going to need to find at least a bit of ground with it. Now, Solar, of course, is completely in the dark here. Doesn't know that that's the case. He's going to be sending out a singular Zergling here to try and scout. Fortunately, it's not really going to be able to get too much information. Byun, well, the wall is closed. Doesn't want to give over anything, but Solar's scouting the 3rd base location, seeing that there's nothing there. Should kind of have an idea that there's at least some sort of aggression. Even if it's not a committed timing attack, There will be drops moving out from Byun, and seeing these 2 medevacs especially will confirm that in his head. Hey, this is a 6-minute move out. This is a very, very aggressive build that Byun is doing. There's still no 3rd CC. Byun does need to get damage with this, you know? Again, you need to try and find kills on banelings, kills on queens. You need to apply pressure here. And we'll see if he's able to get too much done with it. The tank is going to move on forward. I actually do like the other position he was going for, but he's going to try and take the one that gives him a bit more easy access to the units of Solar. Now Marines pushing forward. Banelings do not have centrifugal hook just yet, but there comes the surround, the wraparound once again from Solar. The tank shot on the Banelings is good, but I don't think Byun can really push this, as Solar was just perfectly prepared for it. He's able to completely crush through that. Or that attack. But again, this happened in game 1, and Byun was able to reinforce, take advantage of the fact that so many Banelings were used, and then make the second push hit even harder. This is an augmented version of his game 1 build, where he just went for the CC first in that game because you had the pocket expansion. Now it's a later 3rd CC, but still, it's the same thing. Hyper aggression, going to be trying to apply so much pressure. Instead, Solar looks like he's just going to try and either go for a wraparound or a counterattack. He's not at all interested in trying to fight this. His 2 medevacs loading up, going to head towards the main base. Solar doesn't actually really have anything there. That does mean that this bastion, this little position here, this is going to be very exposed. I don't think Byun should keep it for long. Marines in the main, trying to see what they can do. Are going to fight the Lings now. Again, do have +1/+1, or do have the +1 attack. Oh! Byun getting cleaned up on both locations, actually. Takes a massive Baneling hit in the main, loses half the Marines. Also loses all of them with the tanks. And now you're going to try and continue to push as Byun, but Banelings have been rebuilt. Solar didn't lose a lot. He hasn't built workers. Solar knows that this is committed. He still has Lings at each 3rd base. And he knows that Byun hasn't expanded. He knows that this constant pressure. He's just building Zerglings. He's going to get up his Hydralisk Den, focus on his upgrades, and say, well, listen, I'm pretty much just going to play to defend this. And now Byun's going for a Doom Drop, but there's so much vision from Solar. There's so much vision, you can't go for it. Byun's going to go for it, though. And the Lings are now being brought back. Will they be fast enough? No, the tanks will at least get set up. The singular tank will at least get set up. The Liberators are going to siege, but look how many Banelings there are. Solar just has so much to try and crush this. Byun has to pick up and go into the 3rd base, or the 4th base. He's going to get the kill on the Queen. Now the Liberators going to unsiege. One going to try and harass the main. One now at the 4th, and the hatchery might go down. Byun trying to hemorrhage this position as well as he can, but can he get the base? No! Workers are going down. But I do not think that Solar really cares. There's going to be a cancel there onto one of the eggs that was building. The 3rd base finally moving out. But Byun, did you get enough damage with this? I don't think so. 110 Zerglings making their way across the map. Solar has so much. And Byun, he didn't find the damage. He didn't find the trades. And now at home, what do you have? Well, you have a tank on the high ground, and that's about it. You need to try and fight these Lings with this choke, and he's doing a good job of it, actually, Byun. An amazing position that he's playing with here. A great building to try and just block off some of the angles. And so he finds a good trade there, actually kills a lot of the army, but is not going to be able to fight at the front. He's going to look to try and again dive on into the main base. Already units there though, and I just don't think you can go for it. As Solar sitting at 68 workers, sitting on 4 bases, Byun dropping on top of the Queens. One of the medevacs is picked off. He's going to be able to find quite actually a decent trade here. Picks up, gets on out. +1/+1, meaning that Marines not dying to that Baneling hit, to a singular Baneling hit, but now with melee attacks level 2. You do have the danger of that. More units joining up with this force. Byun, though, he just needs to get this 3rd base up and operational. That is the most important thing for him right now, with +2/+2 on the way. Still 5 racks, and I'd love to see a 2nd factory added on now. I mean, you know that it's going to be Hydralisk. You know there's going to be lurkers on the way soon to follow. It's Lingbane Hydra for now. Tanks are going to be so good against fighting this as Byun trying to stop this base from going down. He's going to be able to at least trade decently. Very good focus fire onto the Banelings. Picks up the perfect 16 Marines to try and get on out. Byun fighting back in this game Fourth CC on the way, finally saturating the mineral patches of his third. More tanks in production again, though. I would love to see a second factory. These tanks are so valuable. Getting a high tank count, especially in late game TVZ, is so important. And I just want to see Byun prioritize that right now, as he's sitting with great marine production. He's gonna have 2-2 for his bio, but it's not gonna matter if you just see a horde of 68 lings just absolutely collapse on top of everything, get the surround, and it all is blown to smithereens by the banelings. As Byun just being so annoying with these units. Medivacs are trapped though at the top here of the map. Doesn't mean that Byun has time to sit back a little bit, but he's gonna push out, and I don't know if I like this. I feel like right now for Byun, you can sit back a little bit. You are gonna get a fourth base up. You know that Solar right now is hitting his macro stride. Solar right now is not building more workers, so why are you pushing out? There's so many lings here. Tank volleys are good. They don't have +1 quite yet, but you're gonna have +2 for this bio finishing up to match that of the Ling Bane. Viper's on the way. Adrenal glands on the way. Second factory is finally building. Just can't help but feel like it might be a little bit late. Oh, Byun, he's unsieged. Tanks are finally gonna siege on up. The first shots go off, but they're not that good. This +1 vehicle weapons is going to finish soon. Byun still trapped at the top of this map with these two medevacs, just can't get out. Solar just absolutely on top of everything right now as the tanks are going to siege forward. Vehicle weapons +1 hasn't finished quite yet. Solar's going for the fight. The splits aren't the best quite yet. There's no surround though, but Byun doesn't split his Marines well enough. The Baneling hits are so solid. As the tank is cleaned up, Byun is still going to try and fight it, but all the tanks go down. And now for Byun, you need to sit back. Oh, never mind, GG. I guess he had to go. Byun doesn't want to play it out. He knows that Solar is ahead, so he's just going to tap out. Solar's going on to the finals. Gets the 3-1 victory.